Sound familiar? Wives, mothers, working women, we've done it all. But now it's time to slow down. We deserve it. We just don't know how to do it. Abby Seixas is the author of Finding the Deep River Within, and she's devoted much of her practice to helping women find balance. She's also a psychotherapist and mental health counselor, and she joins us live from Boston. Hello, doctor.
Hello, how are you, Mary Alice?
I'm very glad you're with us today. You know, we churn through our days driven by the tyranny of this to-do list and feel, and I can only speak for myself, like, well, man, I've really accomplished stuff. If I slowed down, I'd feel like a failure.
Well, that is an issue for a lot of women, and I think it's important to understand that we don't actually necessarily understand the value of slowing down. We're so habituated to going too fast and doing too much that we think it has to be all or nothing. We have to do it all or we're total failures. So a lot of my approach and a lot of my work is about coaching or training us to kind of move off the fast track and understand the value and the rich resources of going a little slower some of the time, not necessarily all the time, but having the ability to go slower.
But it is a very tough habit to break. Do you have tips for us on how to measure how you spend your time so you know where the sort of gaps are?
Well, I don't work so much on a time management frame. I work much more on helping women find ways to contact the depth within themselves and find balance from the inside out. So that's why the title is The Deep River, Finding the Deep River Within. It's about being able to find our center, to know how to pause and take a little time without doing and be comfortable with that. A lot of people aren't so comfortable doing less or doing nothing.
Can you help us by being specific? I know that you can't, I mean, this is a years-long process of learning how to plumb the depths of yourself, but do you have any specific suggestions?
Absolutely, and that's really the basis, kind of the meat of my book, is really 6 core practices. So, for example, one of them is take time in. That's a very simple practice, but not so easy to do sometimes, which is just basically taking an intentional pause, stopping, and not necessarily multitasking while we're drinking our coffee, but sitting down and actually savoring it, tasting it. Another one is making boundaries, learning how to say no, which is a big issue for a lot of women. A lot of women. You're not alone in that. And another one is taming self-expectations. This is about learning to lighten up on ourselves. Again, not thinking that if we're not perfect and doing everything, then we're total failures. But finding ways to not make life or death urgency out of things that aren't matters of life and death. Another one is do something you love, which should be easy to do once we get at a phase when, you know, our kids are no longer at home, but sometimes it's hard to put that onto the to-do list when it's been dropped off the to-do list for so many years. So it's important, though, because it brings renewal and it brings energy if we can make the time to do that. You'd think you wouldn't need coaching for that, but a lot of times people do. Oh,
I believe you, absolutely. But you also suggest making, instead of a to-do list, a what have I done list.
Yeah. And a lot of people I've found in putting that into the book, which really came out of my own experience, many women have used that and found it incredibly valuable. So it's basically focusing on the glass half full instead of the glass half empty. When you take a little time at the end of the day and actually write down what you did do, and many women are shocked and surprised at how much they actually do in a given day, rather than just focusing on what needs to happen next. What have I not done yet?
That's what keeps you awake at night, right? Is worrying about what else the next day?
Exactly. So another practice is the practice of presence, which is learning not to constantly be thinking ahead into the future, but to really come into the present moment and be able to enjoy what's right in front of us instead of worrying about what's coming next.
How can we help our daughters not become like us, not fall into the same trap? We've left such a great example for them, haven't we?
Yeah, well, it's It's a tough one, and I would say, begin with ourselves, that if we, and that's what I tell mothers of kids who have kids still at home as well, be the model. Don't just tell your kids to slow down, but learn how to do it yourself so that you can provide kind of an oasis of calm, and your kids might pick up on that a little bit, and at least it gives them a little bit of a gift to be able to, and they might, certainly we can help them with babysitting, we can help them with any practical thing, and if they're saying anything that kind of hints at them wanting to slow down, then I think that we can do what we can to provide resources. My book is a resource. There are other books out there. We can suggest a yoga class, whatever.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Dr. Seixas. I appreciate it. And you can find more information about Abby's book on our website. That's www.